I was at a lunch a couple of days ago, and somebody asked, you know, how do you plan on being able to stand strong because of the party differences, you know, the across the aisle stuff? How do I know that you would be able to stand strong and actually represent the people? And I guess I'm just sort of one of those, I don't know, maybe an archaic thinking kind of person. I believe that a representative should actually represent. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I grew up in central Alabama. I might be a little bit slower than what some people think that I am. But I've always thought that the word representative did mean to represent. And I think we're at a point right now that we need to stop worrying about, he's a Democrat, Republican. Start looking at the person. You know, I think that pretty much all of us are going to agree, in this district especially, that we don't want to pay higher taxes. Makes sense to me. And guess what? That's Republicans and Democrats. I think we pretty much all agree that we like the freedom of religion and like to be able to practice religion, freedom of speech, freedom to assemble. And guess what? That's not a Republican or a Democrat thing. And I can tell you that in this district, most of us enjoy our Second Amendment. And we believe in the right to bear arms. And guess what? That's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. That's an Alabamian issue. That's what we, the people, are. Doesn't mean everybody, but the vast, vast majority. Well, that's just 2 or 3 things. And one of the things that I see is somebody needs to be able to stand up and actually vote and be the voice of the people. And yes, I may be running on a GOP primary ticket and going to be running under the GOP banner, but my first responsibility is to you, the people. My first responsibility is actually to the Constitution of the United States, which I've sworn to defend and uphold. But once I look at a vote or a bill, once I have looked at it and read it, there's a novel surprise, but actually read it and understand that it is constitutional, then I need to look at the voice of the people. Not what the speaker says, or not what the minority whip says, or not what CNN or Fox says, or not what, you know, Joe the plumber says. But really, Joe the plumber he's us. He's every man. He's another one of the guys that sits down and actually sits at the kitchen table. But so I do need to look at what Joe the plumber says. I need to look at what the people in District 6 say. I don't need to worry about, and I don't want to intentionally harm someone in Indiana or Wisconsin or North Dakota, but you know what? I'm not going there to represent all of them. I'm going there to represent District 6. The few counties that make up this district, that is who I represent. I'm not going there to, I don't want to go to Washington to get more Christmas cards or, you know, to have a bigger social calendar or to get reserved seating at the local IHOP. What I want to do is I want to go and be your representative. And that means that, you know what, you may be Methodist, you may be Catholic, you may be Jewish, you may be an atheist, but I've got to represent the voice of the people as a whole. You may be different skin colors, but I've got to represent the people as a whole. You may be Democrat, maybe you're Republican, maybe you, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going there to fly any flag except for the flag of the state of Alabama and our District 6. That's it. That's who I'm responsible to. Do I intentionally want to harm another state? No, absolutely not. But my votes will be considered prayerfully, and I humbly accept your trust. And it's not that I'm going to be up there and be out of touch, no. I expect you to hold me accountable for every single vote. One of the things I want to do is bring communication back to this whole concept. So many people have been in office for so long. When they went into office, there was no internet. So, you know, you talk about people, well, I voted for this. Bull crap. Go look at the voting record. You know, years ago, you had to actually go to the post office, and find out, okay, or go to the newspaper and see what the votes or what was being voted on, and go, I wonder how my senator or my representative voted in Montgomery or in D.C. And if you lived in a smaller town, you had to drive all the way to a big town or a university, go in the library, and spend hours looking through periodicals and microfiche and microfilm and whatever to see how your representative actually voted. Well, today, you can go on your phone and figure out how they actually voted before you get to your car, because that's the age that we live in. We live in the communication age. There is no reason why I shouldn't be communicating with you every single day on every vote. I mean, almost to the point where if we're voting on if we're having pizza or spaghetti for lunch, that should be, and I joke about that, but you're not sending me up there to represent Arkansas. You're sending me up there to represent Aniana, Clanton, Billingsley, Alabaster, Calera, Gardendale, Leeds, Hoover, all the other cities. I'm your representative, and I'm going to represent you every day, and I'm going to earn your trust every day, humbly and honestly, and I'm going to be accountable to you. We've got to get past the across the aisle crap and get back to being Americans, and that's what I am, and that's who I'm going to serve.